and that makes me proud to be a Bingham Miner, because then I can look back on where my roots came from and understand more of who I am and what the school means.
Reminiscent of old-time miners and their rich mining past, Bingham High students symbolically begin each year with a reenactment of a miner's search for pay dirt.
We have a old rock, a big rock about like this that I got from Bingham Canyon, and we take an old drill bit and we take a double jack and we put on an old mining cap, and we take and we drill for pay dirt. Now, a miner, when he was successful, hit pay dirt, and so we call it drilling for pay dirt. And this started about 1982, and I give a little talk explaining what it means, but we challenge each student to hit pay dirt during the coming year.
Graduating seniors who achieve this goal are awarded the Pick and Shovel, or PIC Awards. Bingham alumni who achieve success in their life are inducted into the Pay Dirt Club, Bingham High School's Hall of Fame.
To me, the miner symbolizes someone that really works hard and sacrifices for something that he really wants, and even under hard conditions, such as some miners in the old times have gone through, but yet they still kept on that common goal to eventually strike it rich, so to speak, or eventually we work hard to achieve our goals that we've set out to achieve, even if the conditions get a little rough.
During the 90 years that Bingham High has been in existence, it is not surprising that many memorable traditions have been established. Some have passed by the wayside and have been forgotten. Some have changed and developed, and some have grown strong and endured. Nevertheless, traditions play an important part in any high school in linking it to its past and giving it perspective for the future.
It was always kind of traditional. It was a traditional thing that the 7th graders got set on the fountain. You didn't know whether you was going to get hurt or what was happening when all those big senior boys would come and get you. And so it was quite tense at first when you got here in the 7th grade, but everybody then accepted you.
One of Bingham's oldest traditions is whitewashing the bee on the side of the Oquirrh Mountains. This first occurred in 1927 when students selected a site for a bee just above the Bingham and Garfield Railroad line on the north side of Bingham Canyon. In April of that year, the proud miners trekked up the steep mountainside and moved rocks into place to form a block letter B. Assembling together to form a bucket brigade from the old railroad line to the base of the B, they then splashed the rocks with whitewash.
This was a big thing every year. And the senior class would take over, and this would be their donation to the school, is they'd buy the whitewash and everything else, and the whole class would go up and whitewash the B.
Every year ended up in a whitewashing fight. Everyone would come back with whitewash all over them. And so you just normally expected that you should wear your old clothes when you went up. It's always a fun experience.
Other activities were later added to this annual sprucing up, and this became known as B-Day.
Then we had competitions between each of the grades, the classes, the juniors, the sophomores, and the seniors, and it was just an all-around great activity. Built, I think, a lot of school spirit and prepared the lower classes to, take over leadership as they, became seniors at the high school.
Bingham's school song had its origin in 1930. That year, a contest was held to select a new school song, as 2 earlier versions had proven to be unsatisfactory. The winner of the contest was senior Jack Smith, who composed the words to a song he entitled Bingham Sons and Daughters. He set his words to a popular 1920s tune that was known as Sons of Burgundy. The school hymn was composed in 1953 by Lowell Hicks, the Bingham music teacher, and was entitled Dreams of Bingham High. The words were composed by Robert Knotts, who was also a teacher. This hymn was not intended to replace the school song, but was written so that students had something more solemn to sing at official functions like graduation and the conclusion of assemblies.
And it wasn't something that was just on the books but never used. But to this day, assemblies at Bingham High School end with the student body standing and singing the school hymn. And I don't think when he wrote that song, he expected it to become as significant as it has been.
Few miners will ever forget the traditional candlelight service, which was inaugurated in 1937 by Joel P. Jensen, then Bingham's music teacher. This is the school's annual Christmas program, and it's been presented annually by Bingham's performing arts groups.
I remember the first year we did it, we had the real live fire candles walking down the aisle in the gym, and then of course the law said that, you know, they were a fire hazard, so then they had to carry flashlights.
I can still picture in my mind, they give a candle to each person with a little piece of cardboard underneath the candle that's wrapped in tin foil so you don't drip the wax on your hand. And then they have a processional and they line the students up and they come down all the different aisles in the auditorium and from the sides of the stage, and all the candles are lit. Just really a nice evening and lots of fun for the music department.
That was always so magical to me, and I had older brothers and sisters who were involved in that, so when I was younger I'd get to come to that, and I couldn't wait to be a part of that. Partly because it was just the event of it seemed so magical, but there was something about it being a tradition, even then, that you just wanted to be a part of it, or I did, and people I knew did. And at the end of the candlelight services every year, they would invite people from the audience who had been in Bingham High School choirs to come up and sing the Hallelujah Chorus. And that was always fun to see people, when I was in the choirs, to see people who I'd known, who'd graduated, to come back up and be able to sing with us. And I so looked forward to being able to come back after I'd graduated and come back and sing and be a part of that service.
Every school has its homecoming celebrations, and Bingham is no exception. Since 1957, homecoming has been a major traditional event. Homecoming at Bingham includes whitewashing the Bee, a foot race down Minor Mile, the Tour de Bingham bicycle race from Copperton to South Jordan, the night pep rally, an alumni assembly, the homecoming dance, and of course, the football game in its halftime extravaganza.
Homecoming is just full of traditions at Bingham. To have the homecoming dance at the old Bingham High School was really neat and full of traditions and full of the history, and it was really, really neat.
A newer tradition is burning the bee. Reminiscent of the homecoming bonfires that were used in the old city of Bingham, this tradition started at the South Jordan School and consists of burning a large wire block bee wrapped in rags.
That really just stands out in my mind so much, because burning of the bee, you do it only twice a year, at homecoming and then at graduation, and it becomes one of those treasure moments in your life.
And it would be kind of an eternal flame that would burn through the graduation night that to me represented the culmination of high school spirit, of a lot of hard work and sweat through high school.
And then to walk out on the football field and to see the bee lit up, standing there with your friends, knowing that your relationships would never be the same. I mean, everyone was going to go in their different directions, and life would bring you careers and families and new friends and new experiences. It would never be the same, and it just sort of brought some real closure to the experience, watching that bee lit up in flames, standing there with your friends, hugging everyone, crying, and everything that happens as a part of graduation.
Many Binghamites were worried that when the high school left Bingham Canyon, that it would lose all its traditions. Fortunately, this has not been the case, as old traditions were continued and new ones, enriching and enhancing Bingham's heritage, were added.
It was a hard thing to do because you had a lot of memories up in Copperton and a lot of things up there, and leaving that school, it had always been known, and then this new one being down in a different area in South Jordan, We were asked as a class if we wanted to keep the same name, if we wanted to keep the same colors, if we wanted to have, you know, bee day or the washing of the bee left on the mountain.
It made a transition into a brand new building that gave the kids something that was a priceless foundation, because Bingham had been that was their 5th building, but the tradition of Bingham was still there.
Traditions make up Bingham High School. Though we've moved buildings, the traditions have carried on, and it's so important for Bingham. And that's the neat thing, is that you can carry on those traditions, and it brings the student body together so much, and they know their traditions and they know the importance of them.
Traditions are very vital to understanding Bingham High School. Traditions are at the basic level of everything we do here.
They help build something in you, and when you participate in them, the activity itself is fun. The journey of doing it is fun, the getting it ready. And each little tradition for each person that comes along, I think, stirs up the memories. Oh, this was high school for me. We used to do this. We used to dress like that. And the little simple traditions, whether they seem silly now or not, helped make high school for you.
When we think back to where they came from, why we do those type of things, it helps us, I think, to understand the importance that we are Bingham High School students or alumni, and that we came from this unique institution where these unique things happen. It makes us unique. I think it brings us together more as, you know, this is who I grew up with. It's tradition, it's what we all are.
Well, I think it went back so far, and you carried on those traditions. It's kind of neat to talk to people, you know, about those things. And the traditions, you know, they change a little bit, but if you talk to older alumni who have been there before, you have something in common because you are all doing the same type things.
I think traditions instill in students and in the whole school a sense of place in time, and also a sense of belonging and of cohesion with your past. You have a linkage. Without traditions and our past, we don't have perspective for the future.
Some of the lasting memories of Bingham High School are those of the teachers who have helped to create and maintain a tradition of academic excellence. Academics has always been the priority at Bingham High School, where caring and inspiring teachers have opened doors to new worlds and have given young miners opportunities to explore, grow, and learn in preparing them for life.
Everyday student life was good for the simple reason we had teachers who they loved you. There was a lot of love shown by the teachers for the kids, and it was the amount of intelligence that they put out was what they had.
Teachers really cared at Bingham High School. Teachers were very dedicated. The staff was close amongst themselves.
And they went the extra mile, and they really taught us. We were prepared when we went to college.
They were wonderful. They took interest in students, and if you were having a problem, rather than, you know, sending you down to T.H. McMullen or Mr. Wooten, they would actually ask you to stay in, you know, a few minutes after school, and they would actually do a one-on-one basis and help students out.
But they were caring, and they saw the potential in us, and they pushed us to our limits, and still loving and caring, they did that.
Teachers here weren't just teachers, they were your friends, and they were really involved with the students, and they really cared. A lot of them were alumni, and so they know the traditions of Bingham, they know what Bingham's like, and they help that, you know, they help carry on and help get students involved and really, you know, keep them up to date.
I felt like that I got a real good foundation from my teachers, not only from an educational point of view and academically, but just a way of life that you learn from those people. They taught good values and encouraged you to go in the right direction, And these kind of things I'll never forget.
Carefully molding and nurturing each individual class, Bingham's teachers have not only inspired young minds, but have instilled in many a desire for lifelong learning. And in so doing have touched the future, for they will never know where their influence will end. Joyce Sanders Lundberg said it well when she wrote, "A teacher is someone who senses the worth of my soul, who sees the potential within, who somehow knows how to open the way for me to try harder and win. Someone who sees beyond the small acts that cover my real needs inside and uses the power of calm gentleness while setting the boundaries that guide. Someone who opens the world to my view and causes my mind to explore the wonders of life in ways that inspire a yearning to walk through the door. Someone whose smile reveals a deep faith in all that is decent and true, whose caring and love I cannot resist. That someone, that teacher is you." Sports have always been a unifying experience at Bingham High School. They have unified not only the student body, but the entire Bingham community. In the early years, they were the only game in town. Loyal supporters of Bingham sports would take time off work, miss meetings, or drop other activities to attend the weekly Bingham High School game. Bingham always seems to have the most fans, the loudest cheering fans, and the most loyal fans at games both home and away.
It was a big day and a big night when we had the football games and the basketball games because the pep club was all spiffied up and we would march and it was just a lot of fun and the school got involved and everyone came to the games.
The whole week was geared to the unity and that of sporting activities, I think. The Friday night football game or the Friday night basketball game, everybody went just about, and I remember sitting up in the balcony or with the pep band or whichever place I was, and everybody went to the activities, and we always had more people than any of the other schools.
The minute the men got off of work with the football game on, while they were just hustling down there to the football game,